Welcome, Mariana. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. How about yourself?
I am doing well. I would like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me in my first podcast for academic coaching for world changers. Thank you so very much.
Of course, I wouldn't miss it. This is exciting.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. So, for those listeners out there that do not know what academic coaching for world changers is, I would like to start off by saying that it is a company that Dr. Pam founded during COVID to help mental professionals pass their tests, whether you were taking the test to become a social worker or a counselor. However, we needed our license for our state. Also, and again, I want to thank you and I want to congratulate you because you have just recently passed your test for, I believe, is it the state of Pennsylvania?
Yes, yes, state of Pennsylvania.
Okay, great. So tell me about your journey passing the exam.
So, um, it has definitely been a journey for me, a very long but exciting journey. When I first took the test, I first took the test about a year ago. And, I felt after I first took the test, I felt afterwards, I felt so defeated. I only missed by like a couple points and I kept pushing the date. I kept avoiding it, kept avoiding, kept avoiding. And then it wasn't until October that I really told myself, I deserve to pass this test. I deserve to see the credentials LPC after my name.
Like
And
the fruits of your labor, right?
right, exactly. Yes. I was just, for some reason when I took that first test, I kept telling myself, it's hard and really when you learn the material and you really take your time to slow it down and just, really prioritize yourself, you start to feel more confident in just feeling like, you got this, like you can do it, you can take it a second time, that it's just a test. And I really liked what once, I think it was Dr. Pan that she said, this reframe that really helped me throughout it was you show the test what you know. You
Hmm.
go ahead and show the test what you know. It was something along the lines that she said of that. And that's when in October, I completely had this reframe change of mindset. And I just said, I deserve to pass this test. Let me show the test what I know. And so from then on in October, I really prioritized myself and I decided to find a tutor. And so then I came across academic for world changers and I decided to work one-on-one with the tutor, which was really helpful. You really helped me through this a lot too. All the
Thank you
material and the
so
resources.
much.
I would
Thank
say that one more
you.
time.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Yeah. And like the groups was helpful too. I think the combination of both really set like in motion for me to feel confident and just continuing on with what I'm doing and prioritizing myself. I found that like, structuring time was really important for me because I noticed before getting a tutor, I was just kind of slacking off. I would study here and
Mhm.
there. I would study for like an hour and that's it. I wouldn't think about it and I'd go like do whatever and then I'd forget the material. So I think structuring helped me just like noticing that I had a specific date to meet with you, specific date to have group, and then I would also structure my days and times. I know that it was recommended 3 hours a
Yes.
day. So I kind of split my time up. And another thing that really helped me was self care because the first time around when I took the test, I did not. I kind of felt like it was everything was about the test. And I know that for some people that may be helpful, but I noticed that for me when I first took the test, not having that self-care really I really felt burnt out going into sessions with clients and then studying. It felt really a lot overwhelming for me. And that probably could have been a mix as to my score on the first time around. But this time around, with the breakdown of how many hours I did of studying and then allowing myself for like a reward after I studied, like maybe watching my favorite show or maybe talking to a family member on the phone, that was so helpful for me. It
Right.
kind of alleviated this pressure for me of I have to just focus on this every single moment of the day. And
Can I just interject just 1 second? Because
sure.
I want to emphasize to our listeners, I like what you said when you said the structure, because here what we do is we try to teach a routine to our students. And you talked about the group was helpful and the one-on-one counseling, I mean, tutoring that you received. And that is so important because when I first took the test, I felt defeated as well. I had only missed it by 5 points.
Mhm.
And when someone told me about academic coaching for world changers, and what I liked about it is that they emphasize a routine and then they want to identify what your learning style is. And that is so important because many times we don't know what our learning style is. We just assume that it's visual. And sometimes it might be audio, but and then sometimes it might be a combination. But if you do not have that structure, then it's gonna almost be impossible to pass this test. So I thank you so much for bringing that out. So my next question to you is, what was your biggest hurdle you had to overcome in passing this test?
Yeah, so for me, I guess my biggest hurdle was just my self-talk. I
Okay.
really had to have this sort of change in self-talk and not really going back to the way that I was doing things the first time around. I think my self-talk was really just very like a cheerleader, kind of cheering me on all
Hmm.
the time. Part of me that was like a cheerleader really came through and just even though there were hard moments where maybe I didn't understand assessment and testing or statistics, I really just tried to slow down with myself and really just kind of, in a way, just cheer myself on through this process. And I think that that's what really helped. That was a little bit of a hurdle at
Hmm.
times because, when I get into assessment and testing, that was a little tough for me. But once I understood it, I felt like the cheerleader in me when I kept cheering myself on, I felt more confident. And then I started to begin to understand it. And then I began to start saying to myself, wow, this wasn't really that hard.
It's funny and that you said the cheerleader in yourself and how you had to cheer yourself on. And many times when I'm working with my students, I say to them, what is your self-efficacy? What is
Yeah.
your belief? And we know, you and I both know that that is something Albert Bandura would stress a lot. What is your belief in within yourself, knowing that you're going to pass this test? And once you um believe that you're going to pass this test, it's just it's it's within your reach, it's obtainable. So you have to have that self-talk, you have to change that around into that positive self-talk that you have with yourself. So
Yes.
can you
I
tell yes, so can you tell me some of the resources that you used that was helpful?
I do remember there was so many, but I did kind of break it down so that I didn't overwhelm myself with information overload. Um, so I remember when you and I first met, I think you gave me so many resources, and that was really helpful. The Hellwick book really helped me. And I'm not a big reader, but there were times where I did tell myself, okay, like let's sit down and just like read a couple of things, and then I would tell myself in a summary, like what was it that I would read so that I would make sure that I comprehended what I read. And then other resources too that really helped me was Dr. Pam's video. I would listen to them all the time in the car. And it was just my music, basically. I replaced music with Dr. Pam's videos and
You
also,
have to.
yeah.
You literally have to. People don't understand. You literally have to. You have to shut down social media,
Mhm.
Facebook, Instagram, and replace it with Dr. Pam's videos.
Exactly. I replaced it with that. And, like, even though there were moments and part of me that was like, oh, I just want to listen to music right now, I
Hmm.
kept reminding myself, you have this date in mind. And after that, you can listen to all the music you want to.
It's
But
not going nowhere. The music is not going nowhere, is it?
exactly. So there was that. And, I also listened to other audiobooks too. Like, I don't remember. There was different podcasts of
Hmm.
I don't remember their names, but those were really helpful. Dr. Pam's videos and then the resources that you gave me. Wow. That was just a powerhouse of resources that I needed. And that was it. I listened to you and also Dr. Pam. She mentioned like stop buying more things. And there's
Hmm.
part of me that wanted to buy more, but it's like I already had all of these
All that you
resources.
need. Yes, you
Yeah.
already had everything that you needed. And that's why we stress a lot of times, don't buy anything else. Whatever we send you, just focus in on that because it has proven results. Yeah.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. How did it feel when you were told you passed the test or when you looked at that paper and it said you passed?
Oh, wow. It was such an incredible feeling. I remember going into the building before taking the test. I was so nervous, and there was just so many thoughts going in my mind. It could go either way. But I still was with that mindset of, you deserve to pass this test. You deserve to pass this test. Show the test what you know because you've worked so
Hmm.
hard for it. And so once I finished the test, I felt so relieved. I Either way, I didn't, either way it went, I just felt so relieved just being done with the test. But then also once I left and, the lady at the front desk, she handed me the paper face down and I told her I wanted it to face down because I wanted to open it in the car. And so when I left the building, I really committed to that. I didn't look at it, even though a part of me was like, I really want to look at it.
Hmm.
I went in the car and I took some time, some deep breaths, and I just reminded myself it's okay either way it goes. Like I'm really proud of yourself for getting this far. So then I opened the paper, and when it said pass, I really just soaked it all in. And I just looked around me. And one thing that really helped me too was being mindful in the moment and just such a gratitude that I felt for being able to take this test, but also the gratitude that I felt for just showing what I know, like just being there and just taking this test and moving forward in my life and my career.
Yeah.
And that was just such I took time, like I cried a little bit. I was so happy. I called my whole family. I told them,
Hmm.
let's go out, we have to celebrate, because I made sure that once I pass that test, I am celebrating. Like I am going
Yes.
to celebrate myself whatever way it looks like. I just needed to celebrate.
And like Dr. Pam always tells us that, when you pass the test, it doesn't make you a better counselor. It
Right,
just makes you a better test taker.
right,
So
right.
you have proven to yourself that you can pass a standardized test, because you're already doing the work, you already practicing in your field. It's just, you just need to pass this test.
Yes.
And I can relate so much to you because I remember when I first took the test, I looked at the picture and I looked defeated before I even began taking the test. And so then when I took it for the second time, I remember having this huge grin or smile on my face because I knew I was going to pass that test. It goes back to what is your self-efficacy, and I knew I had passed. I almost wanted to give myself a thumbs up when I was taking a picture, but I mean, I didn't want to sound or appear to be too cocky, but I knew I was passing that test, and
I love that.
yeah, and I did. So lastly, Mariana, what are your plans for the future now that you have passed? Because you can become a coach as well for academic coaching for world changers. But what are your plans?
Yeah, for me, I feel like, since I passed the test, that next day, I just went to the portal and the state board and applied for my licensure. I made sure that all my supervisors were aware and I started the application process because I know I told myself once I passed this test, like as soon as I pass the next day, first day I'm going to celebrate, but the next day I'm going to get into the gear of things and just start applying
Hmm.
for my licensure. Because it's been a long time coming, and I just wanna get the ball rolling, and I just see my future so bright. I just feel so
Yes.
proud of myself. I feel like the sky is the limit, that there's nothing that you can't do, like if you really put and prioritize yourself and put your all into something, you can really get it done. You can do it. So I just feel like even though there have been definitely hurdles along the way, I feel like in the future I am capable of handling those hurdles and feel confident with myself and just like the progress and just excited to see myself grow like as a therapist and
Yes.
learning more every day and yeah, just excited and yeah,
So
there's just so much.
yes, so tell our listeners where do you work currently?
So currently, I work at a group private practice. I do see lots of kiddos with ADHD. That's definitely been my niche. So my goal, hopefully in the future, can be to continue to work with kiddos that have ADHD, but to definitely specialize in ADHD or possibly OCD, because I do see clients with OCD as well. Um,
Okay.
but I love working for a group private practice. I might, definitely continue seeing myself working in the group private practice and continuing to see lots of kiddos too.
Okay. Well, you know what? Thank you so much, Mariana, for taking time out of your busy schedule again and just informing our listeners what they can do in order to pass this test. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Of course. I loved being here. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me too.
You're quite welcome.